Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read the Parshas of Matos and Maasei. And in Parshas Matos we learn of the war against Midian. Remember again, the Midianites had lured the Jewish people into a web of immorality after Bilam, remember again, the Gentile prophet, was hired by Balak, the king of Midian, to go ahead and curse the Jewish people. He was unsuccessful, but they launched a different strategy, immorality. So in this week's parasha, the Jewish people go out to war against Midian, and they are successful in that battle. Not only are they successful militarily, but they're also successful materially. And they come back with an incredible amount of bounty, an incredible amount of spoils. And amongst the spoils they bring back from Midian were utensils, kalim, and amongst those utensils were utensils that the Midianites had used for cooking their non-kosher food. And so Elazar goes ahead. Elazar is now the Kohen Gadol. Aaron has passed away. So Elazar goes ahead and gathers the Jewish people, and he says as follows. This is in Perek Lamed Aleph, Pasuk Chaf Aleph. Vayomer Elazar HaKohen al Anshei Hatzav habayim lemilchama zos chukas haTorah asher tziva Hashem es Moshe. Here are the laws. The laws of what? Aches hazov ves hakesef ves hanechoshes es habrazas v'alveres kol davar asher yavo ba'ish ta'aviru ba'ish v'taher ach b'meni da yischata v'chol asher lo yavo ba'ish ta'aviru b'mayim. So the Psukim chapter 31 verses 21 through 23 essentially outline the laws of hechsher kalim, the laws of koshering utensils. And Aaron says, here's the deal. Anything used with fire has to go ahead and be purged by fire. Essentially, what Elazar tells the Jewish people is when you use a utensil, when you cook something in a utensil, the utensil absorbs the flavor of that which is being cooked in it. In order to kosher a utensil, one must extract the absorptions. Well, how do you extract the absorptions? The same way the absorptions come in is the same way the absorptions are removed, the same way they come out. In halacha, this concept is called kibolo kach polto, which literally bolea means to absorb, polate means to exude or to extract. The same way the utensil absorbs is the same way that the absorptions are extracted. And we're familiar with this halachas. So for example, if you go ahead and you use a particular utensil just with fire, then the way you kosher it is through fire. If you use a utensil cooking with a liquid medium, then the way you kosher it is through a liquid medium. So laws of kashrus 101. We all know it because inevitably over the course of our lives we mess something up in our kitchen, we trafe something up in the kitchen, and ultimately, or Pesach, we need to kosher certain things. Kibolo kach polto. The way the utensil absorbs is the way you extract the absorption. The same manner of absorption is the same manner of extraction. And the in Hasidic literature, it's explained that this concept of kibolo kach polto, the way something absorbs is the way it's extracted, is not only a din, is not only a halacha in terms of how we kosher our utensils, but it's a halacha, it's a din, it's a guiding light in how we kosher ourselves as well. The Noam Elimelech says so beautifully, I want to quote you, he says, Ki kibolo kach polto, kilomar, blias ha'isr shnivlabo, kein tzarech liflot. On a personal level, the same way you absorb Isser, the same way you absorb Chet, the same way you absorb Aveira, is the same way you extract it from you. How so? Im avar b'seiser, yasa tshuva b'seiser. V'im begali b'farhesya, tzarech tshuva soliyos gam b'nigla b'farhesya. So Noam Elimelech says, this is incredible. He says, the same way you commit the sin is the same way you have to do tshuva. If you committed a sin publicly, your tshuva has to be public. If you commit a sin privately, your tshuva, your repentance has to be private as well. And the truth is, in the words of the Noam Elimelech, the Melech of Lezhensk, we hear the words of the Rambam. The Rambam in the laws of tshuva teaches us so beautifully. He says, Eizu hi tshuva gimura. This is in chapter 2, halacha aleph in the laws of tshuva. What is tshuva? And the Rambam says pretty much complete tshuva is being placed in the same set of circumstances in which I sinned before, but this time summoning up the strength, summoning up the personalistic will to avoid temptation and not sin. Kibolo kach polto. The same way the sin comes in is the same way it comes out. So Noam Elimelech says, if you sinned publicly, do tshuva publicly. You sin privately, do tshuva privately. Really, but the Rambam really brings this home and he says, do you know how you do tshuva? How did the chait get in? What did you do in the first place? And whatever you did in the first place, when you then find yourself in that same exact circumstance, this time you find the koach to stand up to temptation. This time you find the inner strength to go ahead and say no. This time you find the inner deterministic, personalistic will to be able to say, I'm not doing that. I know I've done it before, but I'm not doing it. Kibolo kach polto. Tshuva, the same way that I go ahead and I kasher my utensils. How do you kasher? I cooked something non-kosher in my pot. How do I get out those non-kosher absorptions? The same way it came in is the same way it goes out. It came in with fire, it goes out with fire. It came in with water, it goes out with water. On a personalistic level as well. You want to be a Baal Tshuva? You want to go ahead and rectify the sins of the past? You want to fix that which is broken? Well, figure out how it got broken and just reverse engineer. So the Rambam says, I'm in a particular situation and I sinned. When I'm in that situation again, I'm going to summon up the courage. And this time, I'm going to do things differently. But I want to conclude with an incredible idea and insight by the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. And the Baal Shem Tov says so beautifully, he quotes this in Likutei Moharan. I want to read to you. He says, Im ata ma'amin sheyecholin lekalkel, ta'amin sheyecholin letaken. If you believe, says the Rebbe, that you could break things, if you believe that you can mess things up, then you must also believe that you can rectify things. Im ata ma'amin sheyecholin lekalkel, if you believe that you could break something, destroy something, mess something up, ta'amin sheyecholin lesaken, believe that you have the ability to fix it as well. And this, says the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, is the concept of kibolo kach polto. If you let it in, you can get it out. If you allowed the sin, if you allowed the impurity, if you allowed whatever vice or whatever negativity to enter into your life and to enter into your soul, the same power you had to let it in is the same power you have to get it out. If you believe you can destroy, then you have to believe that you could fix. Kibolo kach poto, whatever could be absorbed could also be extracted. And Rabbi Nachman's words are so profound because all of us believe in the power to destroy. We all know that. You don't even have to believe it. Many of us live it every day. I destroy stuff every day. Destroy people with the words that I say. Destroy myself with the negative actions I engage in. No one has to tell me about my ability to destroy. I know that very well. We all believe in the power of personalistic destruction. The problem is we don't believe in the ability to fix. We don't believe in the ability of tikkun. We don't believe in the ability to extract that which has been absorbed. And Rabbi Nachman says, Im atom mamim sheyecholin lekalkel. If you really believe that you have the koach to destroy, then you have to have the other side of emun. You have to have the other side of that coin as well. Tamin. Then you have to believe sheyecholin lesaken, that you could fix it as well. Kibolo kach polto. Whatever you allow in, you also have the ability to take out. And as such, we see that when Elazar stood before our ancestors many generations ago, and was seemingly giving them the halachos of kashrus, hechsher kelim, how to kasher your utensils, he wasn't just teaching them how to kasher their pots and pans in their kitchen, but he was teaching them how to kasher, how to rectify the most important utensil of all, the utensil of self, the kli atzmi, the utensil of who I am. Because so often in life, inevitably, unintentionally, intentionally, we trafe up our personalistic utensil. I make mistakes, I let stuff in, this trefus, this tarfus that gets in, it happens. But kibolo kach polto, whatever you let in, you also have the ability to get out. Now how do you say, how do I get it out? Like Noam Elimelech, like the Rambam said, well, think about how did it get in? How did it get in? So ever you got it in, that's the process ultimately, again, that you get it out with. And you have to believe that if you believe in your ability to destroy, which we all believe in, Believe in your ability to fix. It's Rosh Chodesh Av this Shabbos, and the Svarim bring down that Rosh Chodesh Av already is the beginning of the Yamim Noraim. That these are days in which we think about all that we have lost. And the truth is, unfortunately, we don't have to look historically to think about what we have lost. All of us are following in the news of the recovery of the victims from the terrible, catastrophic tragedy in Surfside. How many members of Am Yisrael are impacted by that? And again, it's tragedy after tragedy. We don't have to go back to the Churban. We have Meron, we have COVID, we have again the latest round of violence from Gaza. And yes, of course, we go back to the Churban, to the Crusades. These are times that force us to be introspective. These are times that force us to reflect and to mourn on what has been lost. But they're also times that force us to reflect and to examine what we have. And are we maximizing what we have? And the greatest gift we have, the greatest gift I have is me. The greatest gift you have is you. The greatest gift we have is our sense of self. You'll say, well, maybe I've destroyed myself. Maybe I've sullied myself. Maybe I've trafed myself up. Elazar HaKohen comes along and whispers in our ear. Kebolo kach palto. Rabbi Nachman whispers in our ear, if you believe that you could destroy, believe that you can fix. The Noam Elimelech and the Rambam said, whatever you messed up is the same process, reverse engineer it to fix yourself. Whatever impurities we've allowed into our lives, into our hearts, and into our souls, if we allowed it in, then we have the koach, we have the ability to go ahead and get it out. May we find the courage, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the courage to introspect, to look inside our personalistic utensil. And if there are absorptions that should not be there, may we find the strength to extract them. May we find the strength to purge them. May we find the strength to kasher and to purify our personalistically. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbos, a good Erev Shabbos, a beautiful Shabbos Chodesh, and a good Chodesh as well.